Hi everyone, welcome back to Beyond Borders Teaching. Please remember to like, follow, share and subscribe. And today, as previously mentioned, we have a fellow international teacher, my dear best friend Diana, and she'll be sharing with us her global perspective as she has been a teacher abroad for quite some time.
Yes,
So
been a long time.
we are going to hear her story today. So I would like you
Hello,
to
everyone.
introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background in education.
So, well, as you said, I have been teaching for probably around 16 years so far, something like that. Don't ask me my age. Yeah, I am a preschool teacher. I am also, help me to pronounce the word. I was telling
Pedagogy.
Yeah, my degree is in psychopedagogy. And that's how I have been teaching as well for all this time, and that brought me here.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
What inspired you to teach?
Well, since I was a little girl, I remember I used to play that I was a teacher with my youngest brother Diego. He was my only student, and I always liked to be a teacher and help. So when I was in high school, I was ready to choose my career. I made the test, and my first option in the test was you can be a teacher, and I'm like, and I always like kindergarten, preschool, like that type of age. I really like it. Or I also teach Spanish, sorry, because it's my native language. So I teach that, but most of the time is for adults.
Okay. And what country are you from originally? Well, of course I know, but they want to know.
I am originally from Guatemala City.
Aww.
I'm wearing something traditional today, and as we call Guatemala, the short way is Guate.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. I can't wait to come there with you someday.
Oh, please.
Yes.
You will.
Yes, I definitely will. What inspired you to teach in different countries though?
Well, I really have this spirit of adventure. So my first time living in Guatemala, I wanted just to be an au pair. And I said, this is my chance to practice English.
Yes.
And also to live with a American family, just to have the whole experience and to keep growing. I believe that growing is part of my character, and it makes you go places that you never imagined you will go, and meet people that will be part of your life. So every time you teach, you plant something in that person. It doesn't matter if it's a kid or an adult.
That's so true.
And you can see results too.
That's so true.
Sometimes not right away, but you plant a little seed.
That's true. Okay. So in our next segment, I wanted to find out about teaching in different countries. So what are some of the countries you have taught in so far?
Well, of course, as I was telling you, I'm from Guatemala.
Yes.
That was my first country in which I was working as a teacher, usually teaching English back home because we learn English there. And then I went to the US as well. I had the chance to work in a school with students with special needs. I was like a shadow teacher. That was fantastic.
Indeed.
And then I had the chance, that's recent. Last summer I went to Thailand.
Yes.
And I had the chance to visit local schools, public schools, and to teach their English, different grades, and that was fantastic. Yes. That was such a lovely experience. It was a volunteer program, and it opened my mind in many ways, not just as a traveler that I love to, but this trip especially, I did two important things like teaching, volunteering, and also exploring around.
Yes.
And those are the closest education systems that I have. And now currently here in North Carolina.
Are you forgetting one? Ghana.
Oh, I think you told me about my Ghana. Goodness! Yes. A few years ago, I had the chance. I went to Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
That was another program. It was a missionary trip.
Yes.
But I also had the chance. This time was more than teaching to students. It was to help with training teachers.
Wow.
Which I feel it was an honor for me because we were using resources that they have around, literally things from nature, plastic bottles.
Wow.
And they were so grateful with what I was bringing to them because they want to incorporate that. It's different there because it's just a huge, big room.
Yeah.
And that's the whole school. Like all grades are
in a room.
In that big room, and like 5 teachers, but they share the same room.
Yes.
So they need to use the resources in another way, not like, we have a blessing here. We have, the US is big in resources, but Ghana is the opposite, but they still learn.
Yes.
And teachers are always
find a way.
Grow, and when you learn from another teacher, I think that's great.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot Ghana.
Yeah. That's like I remember.
Well, yes, that was awesome.
What would you say though in terms of Guatemala in comparison to other countries you have taught? What are some of the notable differences in terms of culture, in terms of the classroom environment, in terms of the teaching styles that you may have observed?
Well, actually my previous job, in Guatemala was in a private school, one of the top schools in the country. And I love the system because we didn't use any textbooks. So that led to, we were able to work in projects, students work, everything was hands-on. This grade was pre-K, and they still learn their, the basics in phonics, math, and everything, but we were also not able to use worksheets. So then coming to the States, and I found all these worksheets and books to work with a 5-year-old, I was like, wow. So that's a big difference. It has positive and challenging things because there is nothing wrong with a worksheet, but I was used to just do other projects. So now I still do that. I apply that here, but also using a few books that we have to because it's part of the program.
Well, you have answered a question that I was going to go into, which is talking about the challenges you may have faced with different things. So from what I'm hearing there, it seems like you more or less explained about you had to go from simple, like you were talking about in the classroom in Ghana, one room, and all the kids from different grades are in that room. And as you spoke about not really doing with all these books and worksheets, and now doing all these books and worksheets. And as you said, nothing is wrong with it, but it seems like you went from simple to very complex. Any other challenges you want to share?
I will say that something that I love, for example, in Thailand, the teachers use nature as a big resource because also a school is designed like around a big nature land. So they were like, okay, go and grab 10 leaves, bring them in your bag. And the kids went, they grabbed their leaves, and then she was like, okay, build a dinosaur. And I was like, wow. And they were using, they were very creative. They are so creative.
You think outside the box.
And working on the floor, I love that. They work on the floor a lot. And it doesn't matter because they clean. So it's not like it's going to be messy or anything. Sometimes we're like, oh no, I don't want to use. And kids love it. And I was like, I love that because nature, being creative, working in teams, sharing everything, like glue, scissors, that was beautiful. Here sometimes it's a challenge because the classroom is different. I cannot send my students. They will never come back. So that's I need to always be around them if we want to do something like that. But I still try to incorporate because they love it.
Children learn the most by doing.
Exactly, and they have fun, but also you learn something.
So in this part of the segment, we'll be looking at teaching in America now versus teaching in other countries. How has the experience of teaching in America differed to teaching in other countries for you?
I will say that time is huge. Here, everything goes like there is no time to waste.
Yeah.
And comparing to Guatemala, for example, in my daily schedule, I have time to prep. It was called prep time, just in a teacher's room, so I had the time to organize my things.
Yes.
Here, I still have that, but it's with my team.
Yes.
And usually we have.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. It's called PLC.
Yes,
You're familiar with it, but time is it's very limited.
Yeah.
And there are many things that you learn just to do somehow during the day with your kids working, and like optimize my time and self-sufficient. Back home, it doesn't work like that.
Okay.
And that's a big difference because basically most of the time I am with my students here.
Yes.
And back home was a little bit different. The same, for example, in Thailand, they are not all the time with their teacher, especially in recess. They share recess with
same thing for my
in the
country.
whole school.
Yeah.
Basically, having recess, and teachers don't need to be supervising.
Was it like that in Guatemala too?
In Guatemala, there are one or two teachers, but they rotate. So let's say I used to take care of recess once a week or maybe twice.
Okay.
Because it was pre-K.
Yeah.
At least, if they call or something, but quite different.
Okay. Did you have any particular expectation as to how it would have been teaching in the US?
Yeah, I think many of us, we have, like what you watch in the movies.
Yeah.
So you're like,
I think it's
like that, the movie that I watch or the show.
Yes.
I think something that helped me is that when I was an au pair 6 years ago, I had the chance to be in a classroom working. I was not the lead teacher, but I was in the classroom for a few months. So that gave me like a general idea. Of course, it's never the same. I thought it was probably going to be similar. Let's say the schedule, I have this time for this, and then but it was not. And that's also good because now I'm used to that. It's just another rhythm, I will say. And that, I think that's a big difference or expectation.
Okay. What is something you would say, what aspect of teaching would you say you found more challenging or more easier in regards to teaching in the US compared to other countries you have taught?
I think the language. Because, for example, back home, I was teaching English.
Yes.
Because that's what we want to be bilingual.
Yes.
So when I got here, my first year, I was teaching Spanish to English speaker students.
Yes.
So that was a big challenge because it was actually my first time teaching my language. So my friends were telling me, just do the same but in Spanish. I was like, so I took time to find resources because everything I had was in English. Yes. But it was great because there are a lot of resources in Spanish too. It's great. Everything you can find for kindergarten in my case. Yes. But that was a big challenge.
And what was easier compared?
Well, I think I feel more comfortable with English, teaching English, because it's what I was doing. But I also teach Spanish to adults. But I think I like to teach English too.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful.
With my beautiful accent.
Of course, we love it.
I still teach it.
So in this next segment, we'll be talking about the cultural adaptations and the student interactions. So what would you say were the students' attitude towards education here abroad versus other countries?
I would say that the type of school has a lot to do, right? Parents, in my case, is kindergarten or pre-K. parents are very involved
Yes.
because of the age.
Yeah.
So in terms of attitude, I used to be in a private environment. So parents were all the time involved. They were on track with content, with relationships of students. So that was something big. On the other side, here it's not the same. Parents are not as involved as, let's say, back home. Not all of them, of course, but it's different. And of course, that affects the attitude of the students as well. But something that I love about 5-year-old or kindergarten and pre-K, they love to learn because it's that age in which you can still shape.
Moldable.
You can still shape, and they still say, "This is epic." I will never forget. One of my students said, "This was epic," and I'm like, just like a simple game, but for them it's like
they love it. They appreciate it.
So I love that, and I see that here in Guatemala. I saw that in Thailand. As soon as you bring something that they can be involved, they're like, you can bring a box with little things, and they're like, can I?
Yeah.
Or they participate. That changes their attitude too. So that I love.
So I would guessing you just listed some of the memorable experiences, you had from some students. Do you have any other one that stands out? Like memorable?
Well, this one that my first year teaching Spanish here in North Carolina, his name is Mars. And he was like, "Miss Reese, that was epic." And I'm like, somebody, likes it.
Yes.
Also, usually it's around this month, March, February, when I start seeing that they start to read. For me, that's when they read to me a small book.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, check.
Yes.
I feel like,
of course,
because
it's progress.
In August, many of them, they don't even know how to spell or write their name.
Yes.
Or how to hold my pencil.
Yes.
And February, they come and read to me. So that for me is a big,
it's something impactful. Big. You are impactful.
And when they read in another language, that's even more.
Yes.
Or when they understand, let's say if I speak in Spanish and they understand, maybe they don't produce as much, so they are familiar with it. Yes.
How were you able to adapt your cultural styles, your style to the different culture of teaching here in the US? How were you able to interact your culture to the teaching style?
I think that I always use or try to keep my teaching philosophy based in two things. Love and discipline. And that will work here or in China.
Yes.
So if a student feels love, that, and safe,
yes,
they will respond better to teaching or education or learning.
Yes, I agree.
So that's something that I don't change. Of course, there are things I need to adapt. In this case, you're in another country, it's in another language, but love language.
Yes.
So something that I like to connect with my students. Yes. I always want that. I rather that my student feels safe and loved by me than, if he doesn't know his letters.
Yeah.
Because they have connection. They have their whole life to keep learning letters and how to read. But I like to connect and that they feel
the social skills.
My teacher loves me. Or maybe I don't know my letters, but she doesn't make me feel.
She believes in me. Yeah.
Like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
So that's something that I try to. And even when I teach to adults, my students, many of them are 50 years old, 60, 40, and I use games like with kindergarten. Yeah. And they enjoy it because they connect. Yeah. So just keep someone engaged. It doesn't matter the age. Even for us, right? True. If you keep someone engaged, you will learn.
Keep learning,
So I like to do that.
That's awesome. So to end with, I wanted to know if you wanted to share any advice for international teachers. What's something you would advise?
Sure. Well, after being here 3 years,
Yes.
right? Wow, it's been a long time. I would say if you're trying to come here as an international teacher, it's always good to prepare for that. Personally, I like to research before I go. It's good to find something new and be like surprised, which is great too, because you cannot know everything.
Yes.
But prepare yourself, reading a little bit about if you haven't been in the country, of course, prepare with the language. But I think preparing your mind and knowing that it's not going to be like it is in your current school, many things will change. But if you are willing to cope with that, I think it's going to be a great experience and travel light. I always say that in every way. Travel light with your bags and with your personal
open mind, open heart.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
What are some key skills or qualities that help teachers thrive, succeed in the cultural environment?
I think that, well, personally, I really enjoy being around people from different cultures. So that is something that make it not easier, but that helps.
Yeah, you're not alone.
And also survival skills.
Yes.
You learn just to, start talking with someone that you have next to you, even. Well, we. I talk after being traveling and many times by myself, just to feel safe and that I belong. I start to talk with someone like, hey, how are you? And just start a conversation that helps me a lot and try to participate in put myself.
Yes.
It's not easy. Many times I was like, the easiest thing is not to do it.
Yeah.
But I think that helps a lot. So you don't feel like you are alone, and community.
Yes.
Also helps to cope with cultural.
Like my previous episode, finding your tribe.
Find your tribe. And in my case, I am from Latin America. So when I hang out with friends and we speak our language, it feels like home.
Yeah.
So that helps with homesick, or I miss this, or I miss that, I don't like this, and all the different things.
Yeah. And then this last section, how have you handled culture shock? Adjusting to the new teaching environment abroad. Culture shock.
I think that
you experience culture shock.
I do. I still sometimes I'm still like what I think that is important when you are in a place that is new for you, or at least that I do, I like to try to be into that. To for example, here I feel like the rhythm is so, and I tend to be more. I need to be around nature. I don't like to go to when a place is too crowded or a lot of. We have here a lot of stimulation, or buy this, shop this, is sell everything. So besides being here, I still try to keep what makes me feel in peace. So I like nature. I still find places to go.
Yes.
I like to work out to keep my balance, so I still do it. Little things like I like to bring my own bags to the supermarket because I don't like to use plastic. Little things that still make me feel like, okay, I am still me in a big, in something big. And of course it's different, but I like to keep some things that make me feel like
yourself,
me, like myself. And even though it's not, I am not in my same place, but that helps.
Okay, thank you for sharing. I hope that helps someone out there. So you wanted to share something more about culture shock?
Yes, something important in culture is food.
Yes.
That's huge because we like to, eat our food, or you're like, I miss this food from my country, or I don't like. So that's something that is a challenge for me.
Yes.
Because I eat a little bit different, but
Very clean.
well, I try. Something very important is not to judge or say, oh, why they eat like this or why they don't have this. So you can still find, or I try to find what I like to eat.
Yes.
If I am in a place in which I cannot, I try to adapt to the things that I find there. But I also think that respect is very important.
Yes.
Let's say in Ghana, when I went, they eat some animals that I'm not used to it. For example, rats, bats, or snakes. So I was terrified because personally I'm scared of those animals. Yes. But for them, they are part of their diet. So respect. The same in Thailand. Yes. All the meat and everything. But I survived with rice. Yes. All fruits are always good. Yes. Here in the States, well,
has a wide range.
Something good is that here you can find everything. Yeah. So I find what I like, and I think that helps. Yeah. Right? That's something big, food.
Yes, I agree. So for our last part, we'll be looking at personal reflections and future plans. What has been your most rewarding experience as an international teacher?
I will say to share about my culture with my current students, because they are still discovering the world and learning. So now that when they tell me, oh, this is what you eat in Guatemala, for example, that they just say the name of the country, they know where it's at. I love that. I love that they say I would like to travel, because I encourage them. Yes. Make sure you travel when you grow up. It's good to see the world. When they understand, I think I mentioned something in Spanish. They say a few words. That's lovely. And this being my third year, when I go back and see Diana on my first year here, when I thought, I don't know how to be a teacher. This is so hard. Now, it's smooth, and I know what I'm doing, and my students are learning. Yes. I think that's a big thing for me as a teacher. Definitely. Even if I decide to continue in the same school, or maybe you can change the schools, I know what to expect. Yes. And that's something
makes you very adaptable. This
exactly experience. Because now that I know and I am familiar with the system, the curriculum, it's not going to be as hard as it was.
Yeah. Now something I just want to throw in here, because it just came to my mind when you were speaking. In my home country, my principal used to say, if you could teach in Trinidad, they could teach anywhere. Yes. But honestly speaking, coming to the US now is like, because I taught in the US, I could teach anywhere. So in doing these things just make you grow and become more flexible, more adaptable, and really show you how much strength you have. And we are teachers no matter where we go.
Exactly. And then use the resources that you have. Yeah. I try to use what I find. And I think that's a good skill. Because I like to be practical.
Yeah. If you had a chance to teach in another country, because I know you're a traveler.
Yes.
What would it be and why?
Well, I really, really want to have an experience in Europe. Yes. It's a continent that I have a special love. Okay. Because I have friends around. And there are a few countries I would love to teach or volunteer. I would say Finland. Okay. Is definitely on my list. Because they have a very complete and very good education system. Okay. So that's something that I would love to do, or at least explore. And Spain, I would love to teach English in Spain. This is a beautiful country, and why not teach English if I know? Yes. So those, I would say, are on my list for now, because Finland, I haven't been there yet. Yes. But I cannot wait to be there, and I mean, it will be awesome. Yes. To be able to teach kids there.
Yes. Well, Diana, I want to end by saying thank you very much for joining our channel today.
Thank you.
Your explanation, you have given valuable insight, and to hear your journey has been truly amazing. I mean, we have been friends for this 3 years, and I've learned so much things today in asking these questions, and thank you for sharing it with us. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And I know and I hope your story inspires future educators, persons who are considering taking this experience here abroad in the US or in other countries. I mean, what you would have shared in terms of happened in Thailand, what happened in Ghana, like that was amazing to hear. And yeah, so I really appreciate that you took the time to be here.
Thank you for having me. And as you said, I hope that someone get inspiration from us.
Yes.
Because that's what we are trying to do here. And yes, you cannot make it to the US, go somewhere else. The world is huge.
The world is your oyster.
Just at least go. There are volunteer programs for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And you can learn a lot.
Yes.
In 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Or
and like you said, it's not just about also teaching the kids, of course, that's the main focus, that's the main goal. But you also get to take back so much from the experience. So I really think that is lovely to hear.
Yeah, I think every teacher at least should have the experience of visiting another school in another country, interact, something just to be able to see how much all you have to do and share, to give and share and to receive.
Yeah, because I mean, after this experience, I think it has made me a far better teacher.
Oh, yes.
Because of course, experience changes things, and I have no regrets.
I have no
regrets. As much as it was hard.
And if I find a job in Finland, I'm like, okay, let's go.
Another experience.
It was awesome. Thank you, amiga.
Well, thank you so much, amiga, of course.
Thank you. Gracias.
Yes. So everyone, that's the end of this podcast or this channel or this talk today. Thank you all for listening attentively. I hope you all would have been able to take from this message and take from this interaction. Please remember to like, follow, share, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate the support. Bye, and tune in next time for the next episode, and in future episodes to come, we'll be having chats with other international teachers from other countries. Thanks again. Take care. Bye. See you all next week.
Bye bye, everyone.